Check, check, check. You have a good weekend? Did she go to the hospital?
Not yet. But I mean,
Is it like a leg or head?
head, it's arm. Hi. Hi. Oh, sure. Yep. Got it. I got it. I read it. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you very much. Tomorrow we're going. She seems fine, but then her arm is all sore. Nothing like pain. So it's like all of those nervous
Never happens when you, never a good time.
and then well, I would have not. So I would have passed it on to them, but no, it's just their I don't know. You know how it is. Well, we'll be okay. It just messed up all my agenda. I'm being very selfish.
Man, it is warm out there now, isn't it?
Get outside
A little bit, yeah.
and
Yeah, I did the yarn work Sunday.
yeah. So, what do I want to block? Maybe that'll be go year after year, like so.
Kind of like how we do the welcome week at the beginning of the semester. It's kind of the end of the semester celebration.
Yeah, what a great way, you know,
Hey, Jody. Good day.
yeah, it's a great way to for that.
You know the nutritional value of
I mean, I even have my husband
measure of
No. Because I was convulsing. Shivers. No, come the end, like I couldn't control it. I was just. The water, it was the getting out. It was bad, you know, because the wind would hit you. So like I was looking forward to going back in. 49 degrees.
We're just like seeing it was already freezing.
I saw you laughing. Heard Al ran up and hit the button. I didn't do that. But I did see you go under twice.
Okay, it is 5:30, and so we're going to get started. Lynn, if you could, please, roll call.
Ian Brookshire,
Present.
Pam Moore, Jody Lundquist,
Present.
Connor Weaver,
Here.
Ken Warner, Laura Oblinger,
Here.
Mark Healy.
Here. And I'm going to take a moment to make sure, Ken you hear us okay? Trustee Warner, are you able to hear us okay? All right, I just want to make sure that you can hear us, and I just want to make sure you're going to be able to participate fully here before we get started. Yeah, we can hear you, Ken. Just alert us if you can hear the work.
Just like when he's here.
Testing, testing. All right, well, I'm going to try to speak loudly. I apologize for everyone in the room if it is a bit much, but the first thing we need to take care of is due to the absence of our board secretary, Pam Horn, and the slate of action items on tonight's agenda, I'd like to call a motion delegating the powers and the duties of the secretary for this evening through April 30th, which is when Trustee Horn returns, to Trustee Robichek. Can I get a motion for that?
So moved.
I'll support.
Okay, great.
Does Trustee Robichek know?
Yes.
No. Very confused.
All right, and all in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. And next, we are going to do the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, quick review of the agenda, additions, deletions, or rearrangements. Trustees, any changes? None? Okay, we will continue the reports and presentations. I would love to welcome Cheryl Martin, EES, Non-Credit Transition Navigator, for our mission and values in action. Cheryl, welcome.
Oh, thank you for having me. Tonight I'm sharing the student success story titled A Broader Front Door Helps Welcome New Culinary Beverage Management Certificate Program Student. Thank you for your time again. I'm Cheryl Martin, Student Navigator for the Extended Education and Training Program, Work and Career Program. My position is in place as a result of the MyLeap 60 by 30 grant initiative, which has evolved into the Northern Michigan Attainment Collaborative, or referred to as NOMIAC. If you have not done so already, please check out the website, nomiac.com. Fun fact, since I started in my position less than a year ago, I've made contact with well over 100 students with an average age of 51 years old. My student success story today I'm sharing with you is about Stacy, whose real name will remain anonymous. Shortly after Stacy, a local resident who had never attended NMC, received the NMC Extended Education and Training Fall 2025 catalog in the mail, she began to consider making a career change. She had been working in her current industry for over 15 years, holds a bachelor's degree from a large university, and felt she wanted to do something different and didn't know where to begin. And more importantly, she did not want to go into student debt. With some nervousness about being an adult learner and a bit hesitant to make a career change, she went to the nomiac.com website, completed the Contact Us form, and Krista McCarty, Marketing Coordinator for Work and Career Program, received the contact inquiry and forwarded it to me for follow-up. After I contacted Stacy, she and I decided to meet here on a Wednesday at the Innovation Center. Fun fact number 2, my own strategic plan when meeting with students, I like to meet with the students at the Innovation Center on Mondays during an admissions quick start event, or on Wednesdays because Shannon Kroll, academic advisor, holds open office hours at the Innovation Center, and it is a great opportunity to have questions answered by students should they show interest in a credit side program. Stacy shared with me that she would like to find a career path that would blend personal and professional interests. She also shared that she enjoys culinary arts and the wine industry. I asked her if she was aware of the new Culinary Beverage Management Program at NMC. She was not. I asked her for a few extra moments and stepped away to reach out to Shannon to join us. Shannon was available to speak with Stacy and provided a wealth of information so that Stacy could then follow up with Chef Eckert. I'm happy to share that Stacy will be joining the first group of students in the Culinary Beverage Management Program this fall. Stacy entered through the broader front door of NMC Extended Education and Training Program, NOMIAC Initiative, and with a seamless transition to a certificate program on the credit side of NMC. Please remember, when you receive your NMC Extended Education and Training catalog in the mail, that learning is age unlimited. We offer programs for every stage and classes for every age, and a welcoming broader front door for students to be a part of NMC. Thank you. Any questions?
Thank you. so much. It's inspiring to hear that the average age of these learners are my age. And
Yes.
that is inspiring me. Like, I need to take a closer look. Trustees.
I can help you with that.
Yeah, I bet you can. Trustees, questions do you have?
Thank
Well,
you for your time.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Next, the faculty reports. We have Carolyn Schaefer-Hills, Visual Communications Instructor. Welcome.
Hi, thank you. And I have a couple of my students with me from the Visual Communications Department. We are the commercial art, design, film, animation kind of center of our associates programs. And every semester we do a project with clients that are nonprofits in the community, and some are internal NMC, because we consider NMC one of our, obviously, our community partners. And also, we do a press release and reach out and gather nonprofits to contact us if they're looking for help, and we've done this for lots of years, probably almost 2 decades. But I wanted to bring the group, these couple of students, because they were involved in this project, and share some of the things from this semester. So let's go through. Want to just present Wendy? This is Chloe.
Hi. So I was tasked with Wendy's Landing Animal Rescue Sanctuary. I really enjoyed this project. It was our first real life experience working with clients. Caroline and Alex have done an amazing job preparing us for this. And I really enjoyed specifically this client because she let us pretty much do whatever we want, complete open creative freedom. So I had a really great time with this. And working with my partners on it was also really great for learning.
And you had a team of 3 people, right?
Yep,
And
3
we
of
have a
us.
little snippet. So this was video, this was logo design, branding. We kind of give a synopsis. We have a little snippet from the video, and let me try to play that. I'm just going to play the first 10 seconds so you can see what that's like.
So here at Wendy's Landing, we have some very friendly horses. We've actually been rescuing horses here for over 20 years, but we just now made it official. We're continuing to rescue not just horses, but
That's a little teaser. So since we only have 7 minutes, we can't show the whole thing, right? But you'll be able to see that link in your board presentation. Let me go back in here. All right, and our next project, you will recognize NMC's 75th Anniversary History Showcase. Some of our students, Chloe also worked on this project, so each student has 2 teams. They have 2 different complete client experiences, working with totally different peer students, which really helps prepare them for what's going to happen in the world when they go out working in marketing teams and branding teams. And they worked on the poster design, the brochure for the history walk, signage, rubber stamps and passports that people will participate with when they go around in July to our different sites and explore. So that's a really fun one. Friendship Community Gardens. You in this one? Yeah, Christian can talk about this one.
Yeah, so this is GTI's new initiative. For those of you who don't know, GTI is Grand Traverse Industry. They give support for people with disabilities. Specifically, they specialize in job support, and they have this new initiative called Friendship Community Garden, which is like a garden they have that in their facilities, and they wanted help creating like info packet materials to help with grant acquisition. And so we made this is like a physical info packlet that they would give out to their for grant proposals. We also made a web version of this that's not shown here. Yeah.
Perfect. Paddle Antrim is another one of our great nonprofit partners. They do a big event that happens in the community, 3 days of fun paddling. Again, the students took on rebranding all of Paddle Antrim's design. So new logo design that will then hopefully sustain for the next couple decades, merchandising, and we also have a little snippet video. There are some very short social media videos. This one's only 15 seconds, so I'll play that for you. And they did 30-second, 60-second, and just a whole round of different kind of social media shareable productions for them, just so that they can, and we had students involved in videography and shooting for that also. Dream Team is also related, it's a group, again, about encouraging people with disabilities to be involved in sports, particularly baseball. And there is a league that people can join in the ages of 8 to 26. And again, our students were involved with doing the programming, the newsletter, the brochures, and redoing the logo for them as well to kind of get more awareness to that program in addition to social media. Writing Center, you'll see this one on campus. The Writing Center is going to have a new mural outside instead of kind of the sterile space that it has, just to encourage students to engage more and maybe have fun and think about writing as an art and something that's expressive and that you can take chances on and things like that. So we had a team of 3 students that are working on varying murals that will be unveiled and will be on the walls outside the Writing Center. So that'll bring a little more life, hopefully, into that space and encourage use. Legacy Art Park, you want to talk about this one again? This is another Christian's project.
So this is kind of a volunteer ad campaign. They came to us, and this is their words, not ours, trying to attract younger volunteers for the park because they do a sculpture park out in Crystal Mountain, and they wanted to kind of create a volunteer campaign that would encourage like a new younger generation of art appreciators and hikers. And so yeah, we made a flyer and brochure campaign for them. We've also did some social media with them as well.
And that new wellness logo is part of that rollout too. There are some individual logos that are kind of highlighting certain events that they have going on with the art park at Crystal. And then Jubilee House, opened in 2005. It is one of the only day shelters for unhoused people in our area. Also has food pantry and community meals. And the students have worked on logo redesign and development for their branding and are also working on a longer documentary. And this is our last week of classes. So the final is due at the end of this week. So we don't have that yet to tease you with, but we will. But that will be coming. We're really excited about that because they got to spend a lot of time doing interviews and talking with the people that founded Jubilee House and also people that benefit from it. So yes, that's it. And we're happy to answer any questions, the students as well. So.
Well, thank you so much for being here. And it was, your work is very impressive, but I want to ask, anyone in the department or the students participate in making some of the things that maybe we see at events and those sort of things as far as the visual presentation of videos?
In the history of our class, we've done the Tart Trails trail maps, we've done the Bay Bucks when they first came out, so a lot of things that are in the community just over the years. So we have a Facebook page for our art department, and in there you can see the gallery of all of the projects that have come out of the class throughout the years. So you can really see many, many things you've probably seen have been done by our students in the department, so it's cool to keep a history there.
Great, thank you.
Yeah.
Any questions? Trustee Ablinger.
How does a community partner get into the work of this class?
We put a press release out. Carrie helps me draft that, and it goes out around Thanksgiving. We like to kind of keep it like, hey, in the spirit of giving, like, how can we help, And so I take submissions up until January 1st, because I have to then start planning the semester and what students I have. And I comb through all the submissions, and because I know the assets of the students. Some might be videographers, some are designers, some are, they have different skills that they're really highlighting. And then I kind of weed through and decide what projects we can take based on what we have.
And so does does your press release go out to all nonprofits?
It goes out to the whole community, and there's it'll be like where all the places where NMC, like the general press releases go out. And then a lot of times nonprofits will have been in contact with me, and I'll say, hey, watch, I'll keep your email, and then I'll send you a reminder, when it releases in November too. So yeah. But we always love more word. We love more word of mouth. So if you know it, spread it. Yeah, it's always the semester that this class is the visual communication studio class. Studio for it's a working studio. So it's always in January semester. It's always in the spring semester. Yeah, and then these students are graduating, so it's like their capstone project.
Thank you.
Trustee Weaver.
Well, these are great projects for the students, but do you get feedback from the organizations you work with?
Yes, we do. We have a required part. We have feedback evaluations that happen at a midterm point. All the clients come in and meet. We all meet all together, and we had that where we come round table and meet mid-semester just to make sure everything's going okay. And then final reviews, they provide feedback forms that gets put into our our A3 and our documentation for the program. So yes, our advisory board is involved, and we keep all those feedback from each client. Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions?
don't know that I expect you to answer this now, but this is fantastic work. And I love, it's inspiring, it's creative, it's real experience for when you enter the world. How do you, either as students or like from other students, what kind of questions do you get as like marketing as an industry grapples with the emergence of AI with logo generation and the ease with which
You guys are
folks
very
can-
vocal about AI. Do
Yeah.
you want to talk about it?
Well, I mean, like, AI, when it comes to like specifically marketing, as you're talking about, it's the issue of like, what can't it do? Is like, it can't do end product stuff. It can't do the things that's actually showing up on people's social media things. So it's like, in the design sphere, we've always seen it as like a part of the process and not like for idea generation and drafting and stuff like that. And we're kind of treating it like that, and that's something that should be first draft, whatever AI comes up with, put it straight to people's social media feeds. It's like, it's part of the process, but whatever is at the end of the pipeline is always going to be made by hand.
Yeah, and it's integrated. Do you have something you want to add to that? Okay.
I actually had a direct experience working on my project with an AI logo that was generated that she wanted me to use. And I told her, well, let me do it, the artist. And I came up with one myself, and she ended up loving it way more because, a real artist made it. So
Yeah, and a lot of the times AI things can't go to print correctly, it doesn't prepare preprocessed files correctly and those kind of things. And we find we don't use it for generative, we use it more as a tool. A lot of the software has AI elements baked in, that to help ease workflow, but we don't really use a lot of generative AI.
Fantastic, thank you.
Okay. Well, thank you all very much. Really appreciate you being here and taking the time.
Thank you.
Next, I would like to welcome Jason Slade, Vice President of Strategic Initiatives, to the podium for an update on the strategic plan.
Hey, good evening. Thank you very much for having me today. I'm really excited. I think you're starting to see the themes of the strategic plan kind of resonate out through the board meeting. We talked about this in last month's board meeting, but when I look at the work that Carolyn Schaefer-Hills and her team did, that really lines up with our strategic driver around community partnerships, right? So here she's doing a request out to the community, our nonprofit partners, they're able to engage with the college. Our students are getting those real world experiences, gaining those durable skills. I think about technical communication. Kennard, you asked a great question about how they sit down with those organizations and they get feedback multiple times through a semester about how they're doing, and then you see the benefit that comes out of it. You heard from Cheryl as she talked about our adult learners. Mark, I was with you, 51 years of age is our average student coming in. That surprised me that they were coming to the college, and we're looking at blending that front door. And so I thought that was a great opportunity to kind of share what we're looking at in this strategy, specifically with our fourth objective. So I'm joined by our team that is actually leading Strategy 2. We have Lindsay Dickinson, who's our Director of Student Success and Retention, who you met before. Kelly Yawk, who is our Marketing Director, and you'll see why marketing plays such a critical role in this. And then Lisa Von Reichbauer, our Director of Admissions. And so we have elected to go with a 3-person team for this strategy. And it makes a lot of sense when you see how we're driving the individual objectives in here. It also is really helpful because each of them bring a unique perspective to their area and can highlight the needs of their department and then advocate for their stakeholders, because it could look different for each one. And so Strategy 2, remember, this is our enrollment and student success. And so we are focused on carrying forward the work that we did last time around enrollment and really starting to push the envelope as we look at how do we strengthen our enrollment systems. And so a piece that we're leading here in Objective 1 is we want a unified data-informed enrollment ecosystem. And so what we're really trying to do is, we talk about the last strat plan, we had the work that Lindsay's team was doing in terms of advising students, we had the work that Lisa's team was doing in terms of bringing students in, and then we had the work that PRMC and Kelly and Diana were doing as we were trying to reach a broad audience. And each one of those areas was doing fantastic work. But now is the time with this strategic plan to bring each of those areas together and kind of focus in on what should that whole ecosystem look like? What should that experience be? It allows us to refine it, align it, and the time is really right. When we look at that last plan, we had 9 semesters of increased enrollment. But what we want to do is take all those systems and really put it together into a true ecosystem so that we are getting maximum return on the number of students that we're engaging with, and we can continue to grow that enrollment. So when I think about what success looks like, it's an interconnected model. So that as we're working with student recruitment and retention, it's not just these siloed actions, but we're able to kind of have a cohesive student journey. And then we're really going to focus on that application to enrollment. So we have a lot of touch points. So we have recruiters out in the field. We have recruiters from individual areas. We're doing outreach through our digital marketing campaigns. And we're going to really look at what that application and enrollment return is. And so when I look at the metrics for success, that'll be one of the key ones that we have. And then we're also really focusing in on our dual enrollment students with this particular strategy. We are still tracking enrollment across all our sectors. And so we'll see later on, we're looking at adult learners. We'll still have the enrollment report that Todd brings forth, but we're really focusing in on how are our dual enrollment graduates doing in here? And then what is that enrollment look like for our dual enrollment and traditional high school students? So that gives us a couple data points to really dig into with these. And so a couple secondary indicators, again, we're gonna kind of, I think of these as like umbrellas. And so we're really gonna refine where those touch points are. So it might begin with what's our request for information as we reach out. And then as we get deeper into this process, it could be looking at what's our orientation attendance or a quick start. So we have a number of different pieces that we'd add there. So when I think about where we're at right now, it's really developing that enrollment ecosystem. And then just as importantly, you're going to see later on in the agenda an RFP for an improved website redesign and some of our digital marketing. And again, that's us continuing to improve this process and improve this ecosystem. And I mean, there's always tie-in with other pieces. That digital marketing component will really, one of the critical drivers, as you might have seen in that memo, is the optimization around artificial intelligence. We know more and more of our students, especially the demographics that we've identified here, our high school and dual enrollment students that are using AI to determine where they go next. And so it'll allow us to optimize our website and then also our campaign through that lens. And so with this particular strategy, really it's a refocusing of what we're doing. Anything you would add to that? You're gonna get lots of questions from the board later too. So, great. So then when we look at 2, our goal with this particular strategy and objective is we want to improve our communication and information with our students. So one of the things that Kelly has been really pushing on is how do we make sure that we are communicating with our students and we have that student-facing portal is developed. So we have a portal that allows students to get the information that they need. So Andy, I think of you with this one. It's like just-in-time manufacturing. It's just-in-time communication. It's the lean component. We want to make sure that we're not bombarding them with lots and lots of information and data up front. We want to make sure that we're giving them the most relevant information. So we want to make sure that we build out this consistent system and that we have the portal in place that allows us to give that messaging at the right time. We want to avoid confusion. We want to strengthen follow-through and make sure that we're making the right decisions for our students along that process. And so I think of this as that's that student-facing component, and it's making sure that that data is coming when they need it. Now, how do we know if this thing's working? And this is where we're gonna have to do a lot of work around our metrics. So we're gonna do a lot of learner engagement surveys. So we already have that working through Joy's office, where we're gonna refine that based on their experience through the process. So how is the communication going? And you can see that this objective lines up closely with the first one. The first one was, how do we bring students in? This one is, as we get them in, how are we communicating with them? How are we making sure they're getting the right data? How do we make sure that we're not bombarding them where they're like, I don't want to do this anymore. There's too many emails, too much data, et cetera. But at the same time, we know that college has expectations in terms of what they need to do along the way. making sure that we're getting them that right information. And so our learner engagement survey, and then awareness of key deadlines and milestones. So we're looking at how are they aware of those milestones? Were they aware that registration opened? Were they aware of drop dates, et cetera? So that'll give the student perception. Internally, we'll use our data sets to look at how many students were dropped, how many students registered early, what was their satisfaction, and we'll be able to pinpoint pieces of data along the way to see how this is going. This is a big jump for us. You think about it like the technology and other components that go with this. And right now, we're really trying to identify those touch points. Where are students interacting with the college when they're coming in with Lisa's team and going through that orientation process? Where are they in the process when they meet with a recruiter? How are they engaging with Kelly? And then as they go a little bit deeper, how are they engaging with our student success and advising teams? And really right now, we're kind of at that point of defining the greatest pain points. Like, where is there points in the system that we need to focus in on? And then we'll be able to jump into some of these other tools, identify the data that we need, look at options, and then eventually we'll have an enhanced dashboard that engages with our students, and then we can roll that out to others at the college. Our third one, we're really focused on creating that advising system. So again, if we're going to bring these students in, if we're going to refine that portal to make sure that they're engaged with the college, we have to make sure that throughout that process, every student has a clear path for whatever success completion looks like on their end. So this was tied to that HLC project, which you heard about before, our Higher Learning Commission project. And this is a new advising model that leverages our faculty to make sure that we have more touch points with our students. So all our students will have an academic plan that lays out their class schedule. Students will have a better understanding of what their career paths are moving forward and what those regional opportunities are. And so we've started this work already. Lindsay and her team have jumped in significantly. We've developed course modules that faculty are using to get up to speed on our advising model. And then we're going to look at our engagement rate. How often are our students engaging with advisors? And then career decision rate. How well are our students doing in terms of identifying a career pathway or a transfer opportunity? And so again, we have to get baseline data for both of these, but this is going in the right direction for what we want to do in terms of engagement. And then we're going to look at our training rates right up the front. So how well are advisors getting trained and up to speed? And then how are they in terms of feeling in terms of preparedness? And then eventually, when we have this thing rolling out here in year one, we'll be able to look at our placement of our students, make sure that they're meeting with advisors. We'll make sure that they have a semester by semester career plan, and then some sort of follow-up appointment survey that we'll do to make sure that they're getting the experience that they need. In the same token, getting feedback from our faculty as how is this going? How is this new model going? So we're in the beginning stages of this particular objective, but it all lines up with that success. And then the last one I would have with number 4, when I look at this one, this is what Cheryl shared at the beginning. This is us looking at our adult learners. This is us looking at our regional employers. This is looking at students that are coming in maybe for a non-traditional pathway. And so one of the takeaways that we have or we are driving with this particular objective is, how do we have more of those stackable pathways so that every student comes in, like our student Stacy comes in and they learn about an opportunity. Maybe it's in the non-credit side that allows them to enter the workforce, but they can continue to grow and stack on to their experiences, and then maybe enter an academic pathway if that makes sense. And so this is looking at that whole system holistically, and how do we broaden that front door? Sometimes it's referred to as a one-stop shop, where you can bring somebody into the college and provide them a training or learning opportunity that makes them employable, and then have that grow with them as they upskill either at their current place of employment, or maybe they're trying to upskill for a future job. And so this is a lot of work on our end that leverages that MyLeap grant, which we attained, the NOMI Attainment Collaborative, which is led by our extended education program, and then tries to connect it to our academic side. And you saw the benefit of that already, where we had a student come in and they meet with our advising team. And so our goals with this is to create truly blended pathways where somebody can come in that door and maybe take a non-credit welding class, or maybe they're taking something in healthcare, and then eventually blend into an academic side if that's what makes sense. And so we're starting at 0. Our goal is to have 6 in 3 years. We're looking at the number of students that are in non-credit classes transitioning into the credit side. And then we're looking at those students that are being kind of shepherded by somebody like Cheryl as a non-credit student navigator through this system. And then we are tying this back to our secondary indicators with that grant. We know that our NOMI Attainment Collaborative and the 60 by 30 grant has certain goals when it comes to credentials of value, and we want to make sure that this particular objective, honors that and meets that, so that we're driving the work from two ends. But I'm pretty excited by this one too, because when I think about the strategies that we have, or the objectives we have in this strategy, we have everything from, beginning with that high school dual enrollment student coming and finishing here at NMC, to now our adult learner with the average age of 51 coming back here to get those skill sets that they're trying to gain. And so that is our 4 objectives that we have under this particular strategy.
Wow. So much information, as always. Thank you, Jason. And so I'm going to start out with a question real quick, if that's okay.
Yes.
Back up to the communication, improving communication to the students. Can you talk a little bit about the challenge when you're talking about a existing high school student who may be in dual enrollment versus a crusty old 51-year-old? There's a wide range of needs in communication. Can you talk a little bit about how you address those things, considering your different audiences?
Thank you. So what we're finding, and exactly what you're touching on, we've been communicating with those people who have sort of started entering our funnel. They've showed some interest in us with emails, and we're finding that that dual enrolled student does not only not open our email, they won't even give it to us if there's any option for them to not give it to us. They may give us their mothers or something like that. So we're wanting to make sure that we are communicating in a way that makes sense for that person, and also in a way that we can continue to grow on. So we're building our texting capabilities, and we're also making sure that we're measuring those metrics, that they're actually converting in this way, that we're getting them the right message at the right time. So it also may be something even broader in the marketing funnel, where we're looking at, do we need to reach them with a YouTube short, something like what you saw the graphic design students doing, versus something that we've shared on Facebook, or even some more traditional types of advertising. So that's really what we're building out with that. That first objective is making sure that we're finding them in the right place for them, and that we have all those assets to meet them in those places in the systems that we need to. And this is a little bit further down into that, like, once we get them in, now we have this big, beautiful dashboard that they can go to. Again, we're finding that students might have 300 emails in the system from NMC when they first log in the very first time, and some of them might be very important. Some of them might be, hi, how do you do, from your professor. So we want to make sure that we're bringing the absolute most important information up to the top in a place that they can log in, find out what do I need to know at the right time, and that it really makes it very clear and simple for them. This is the action you need to take to be a successful student. Did I answer your question?
Yes.
Great.
Thank you. Trustee Oblinger.
I have 2 questions, one on objective 1, one on, I think more of a comment on objective 4. On objective 1, I need some help with the how will we measure success. This is in relation to enrollment, baseline fall, 26 is 40%, goal going to 45%. So just to make sure I'm clear, 40% of who applies converts to actually enrolled. So I'm used to closing ratios and things like that, so I look at that as a closing ratio. So 40% in my world would be very low. Help me understand this number compared to our peers, or is this an average number? Why isn't it 70, 80%?
I think one factor for community colleges, especially in the area, is every October is college application month. So every student in the region is asked or told or mandated to apply to college. So applying to NMC is where a lot of counselors and people will direct their students to do that. So our conversion rate is not out of line, across the community college sector. And that's kind of a big piece of that is, if we look at our conversion rates per month, October is our worst conversion rate because we're getting so many applications.
Mandatory. That completely answers my question.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep.
And then the second comment related to objective 4 is, I don't have a specific request, just so you know. I just want to plant a seed. So our community is leaning towards a lot of the influx and a lot of the retention is in this 50 plus. And so heading into that senior category, and that's our future potentially as our younger age demographic is declining. So someday, as we as a board are going to have to make decisions on how we partner with different parts of our community, like senior living and things like that, it'll be really helpful for this board to be able to understand, and I think it falls in objective 4, to start to understand those true statistics, and therefore your recommendations years down the road, maybe months, I don't know, but your recommendation at some point coming to the board with why we should be doing more relationship building and partnerships in our senior, I say senior, but 50 plus category. Am I making sense? It's not a specific request. I'd just like to plant a seed. I think objective 4 warrants itself for this team to continue to analyze that up and coming demographic and how we partner with them.
So I'm with you. I think 50 is not senior.
I know.
But on the flip side, I do think that is part of it. So this is beginning that work, looking at, it started out with the blending of credit and non-credit, which it will be in those opportunities. But because of the demographic that we have coming into our extended education program through the NOMI Attainment Collaborative, it's going to drive a bit of that. And I also, if I'm hearing your question, there's other demographics within maybe that age group that we need to be looking at too, because they may have different opportunities. So it might be some of this retraining, but it might be opportunities for maybe just our changing population that we have here in the region that might not be leveraging this particular objective, but something else that the college should be offering. So yes.
Enrollment, they are access to knowledge, they are access and a bridge into our foundation, and so it just seems relevant here. That's
Agreed.
it.
Trustee Weaver.
One of the strategies, future focused education, is equip learners for a rapidly changing world. Are we teaching them how to keep up with what's happening in their industry, and so they can get training that will stand them well when whatever they're doing now disappears, like Meta laying off 8,000 people, having AI take over that work? Do we teach them how to keep track of their industry? And is the college doing some of that keeping track as well and designing new courses to do that?
So I think that's one of the pieces when we look at future focused education that bleeds over into this particular strategy. So one, our goal with that objective 4 specifically, as we look at the professional development and training, is our ability to respond more quickly and be more agile and have the ability to deliver, let's say, a particular certification or credential or something. Extended education has the ability to deliver something literally by the next catalog or even the next start date, which to them can be rolling or at any time. So for instance, if industry said, we need this credential, we could sit there and deploy it through our non-credit arm almost immediately, assuming that we could find a trainer. Then the goal would be not only to deliver that, but then figure out how to offer that maybe to our current credit students that need that skill set, or take those students that are taking that non-credit component and rolling that into, maybe they can build that out as part of a business degree or something else. And so we want to use 4 for nimbleness, and then address exactly what you're talking about there. And so we do look at it by a case-by-case basis in terms of industry, but then we're also looking at it from the approach of, whether it's hot jobs or regional employment, or when we have industry partners come to us, and so us could be academic, could be through a specific department, it could be through NOMIAC. They were just down in Cadillac last week, hearing from employers in the Wexford area, to be able to offer those types of training. And so we want to address it here, and then we can roll that into our academic side.
Trustee Robichuk.
I have a comment more than a question. I love what you're doing and how you're doing it, and the fact that we're putting in lots of goals and objectives and measurable points. The one question I have, and I'm not looking for an answer from you now, as you go back, please think about this. In dual enrollment, you're talking about depth. You're trying to get people to stay longer into the organization. I really think you need to think more about breadth. Increasing the number of students who do dual enrollment, to me, is more important than having a few of those students stay on for a longer period of time. The goal being, you want more touch points to the community. The more people do it, the bigger that organization grows, the better it is for us in the community. Touching 25 people who may take one course versus touching 4 people who take 6, 8, 10, 12 courses, financially that may be almost exactly the same at that moment, but the 25 building, hey, I took a class here, I know who we are, I know what we do, I believe is a much more important thing. And so please think about breadth as opposed to depth when you look at that.
That's a good point. And we're tracking that data, and so that's something we can roll into.
What is more important, and where do you stress this?
Nick?
Just to add one other point, Laura, to your comment about the older adult demographic, is I think we've got one place that we could really shine the light right now, and it's the work that Laura and her team are doing. If you remember, we heard a couple months ago about the international travel, and I can't remember, Laura, but I think that number was like a 68 is the average age. So they've discovered this unique demand from that older adult segment or population here, and I think we're kind of building muscle around that, trying to serve that older adult population. Hopefully that'll lead into some other areas as well.
Yeah.
Thank you. Jody?
I have a friend that went on one of those trips and absolutely loved it, and I know that she's been spreading the word. We heard from the Student Government Association, and one of the things that they talked about was the fact that it's difficult to disseminate information about events. So I was wondering how you're engaging with them to have input on how, as students, they want to be engaged with. And then the second thing was, this is timely presentation, because on tonight's agenda is approval of a resolution to begin the work on the much-needed redesign of the website. So my question was, how then do you distill everything from this strategic plan item, specifically Objective 2, into what gets communicated to Diana's team?
So actually, we have in Strategy 3, one specifically focused on trying to get student feedback on the types of things that will make this the place for them, as opposed to just the place that we give them. And we have put together a survey that we've actually met with 2 student groups so far to get their feedback, not on what they want, but do you think the survey that we're putting together is going to elicit the kind of responses from students that we need to have? And so that has been the focus of that, so we can redo the survey to ask the questions in such a way that they feel like they would answer them. That we plan to send out in the fall to give us the baseline information about informing what kind of extra activities, opportunities for student groups, what kind of facilities would support that kind of stuff with those students. So that's our big reach out to them about how they want NMC to be. Maybe not for their future, because they oftentimes move on so quickly, but getting that student voice about how the place would be a more welcoming and engaging place for them.
can take the second part of your question about the website. So what we know from our strategic plan work, with all of our focus groups, it's really important to get that firsthand information. And so as we've set up the process for the web redesign, we've intentionally made it a year-long process because we know how important engagement is to getting it right. I would say it's twofold. One, the vendor we're recommending to help us with this has deep industry expertise and best practices and research to inform from their perspective, but we also have a web steering committee that we shared in the memo with you that includes all of these experts as well as technical experts, including Steve Kelman, who's our web coordinator, Katrina, who also works on the IT side of the web, both for ADA compliance and others, but also Christy McDonald from a faculty perspective. And so we do have that steering committee. They did an incredible amount of work vetting all the proposals, but we also know that when we plan it out, we're going to have to engage with different focus groups throughout the year and vet our assumptions. And so we make sure we get it right. So we do have in the plan for the whole year to engage with students at several touch points, including incoming students, kind of like we did with the brand work, where we talked to both high school students who might be incoming, as well as existing students and others. So that focus group work for our web redesign is a critical part of the structure that we're setting out for that.
Thank you.
Any other comments, questions?
Mark, I just want to thank these three. As you can tell, this is a pretty in-depth strategy, and Kelly and Lindsay and Lisa have done a great job of wrangling all this and, more importantly, tying all these objectives back together.
Wonderful work, everyone. Thank you so much for this. We really appreciate the update. Okay, next it is time for public input. Let's see, the topic addressed should be related to the business within the jurisdiction of the board. We have the forms collected here, and comments are limited to 3 minutes in length per speaker. Board will take remarks into consideration, but will not comment at this time of input. So first, I'd like to invite Beth Friend to the podium. Welcome, Beth.
Hello, thank you, Chairman. Again, my name is Beth Friend. I'm the Township Supervisor for East Bay Township, and I would like to speak with you regarding the TIF that is in front of you this evening. So I appreciate the thoughtful analysis that's gone into your consideration of the Beach District TIF. And I understand the rationale for maintaining a clear focus on your educational mission. Though I would respectfully ask that this board consider not just the decision to opt out, but what comes next. The US 31 corridor is not solely the responsibility of East Bay Township. In fact, the township has limited authority, primarily land use. We do not control traffic, transportation infrastructure, or many of the safety challenges that define this corridor today. Yet those are exactly the issues that this plan is addressing through leveraging funding and collaborative initiatives for the benefit of the entire region. This is a regional corridor. It serves your students, your workforce partners, and the broader community that helps sustain NMC. Choosing to opt out without engaging in a good faith partnership and negotiation risks sending the message that this is someone else's problem. And respectfully, that is not how the community has treated NMC. When voters support millages or funding of the college, they don't all have students in their households, but they understand the shared value of investing in regional assets. This is a similar moment. NMC's own strategic plan emphasized community partnerships, stewardship, and vibrant college connected to its region. The Beach District Plan is not in conflict with that vision. It advances it. A safer, more accessible, and economically vibrant corridor directly supports student success, workforce development, and quality of place. This is also a matter of scale. While the financial impact of this TIF is limited in the context of the college's broader resources, the opportunity to demonstrate regional partnership and shared investment is substantial. Estimates place NMC's potential participation at approximately $1.5 million over 20 years. When viewed alongside East Bay Township's annual operating budget of just over $2 million, it is considerable. And when viewed alongside NMC's $56 million annual budget, it represents a very small fraction of overall resources, but a meaningful investment in the region the college serves. Grand Traverse County's taxing authorities affected by the TIF, Grand Traverse County, Beta, and East Bay Township, have demonstrated a commitment to the region by engaging in this conversation through resolution and negotiation. While their opting out makes news, the second portion of their conviction often does not, and that is their support and good faith commitment to negotiating an agreement that acts in place of the TIF. I would encourage and respectfully request NMC do the same. So tonight I ask, even if you choose to formally opt out, please do not disengage. Commit to good faith dialogue with the township, explore partnership, help shape a solution that reflects shared responsibility for a corridor that serves us all. Because this is not just about infrastructure, it's about how we work together as a region for the benefit of our organizations and everyone we serve. I appreciate your time and do just want to let you know that we are right now actively engaging in negotiations with Beta and Grand Traverse County for an agreement in place, and we're just discussing the parameters of those agreements. So I appreciate that. And if you wonder how a township with $2 million in operational can tackle such a big project, well, I would say look at our past success rate. In the past 5 to 6 years, we have supported about 1,000 acres to go into conservation and leveraged about $10 million in grant funding.
Thank you,
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
Okay, thank you. And next, Amy Shamrow, please welcome to the podium.
Hello, everybody. I'm Amy Shamrow. I'm a Traverse City resident, and I'm also a millage payer to NMC. I just wanted to first thank you all for your service. I know how difficult it can be, and I know you all are tasked with tough decisions that you take very seriously. So I don't want to come into this with anything but other than some opinions from a citizen and some hope that you all will maybe engage, like Beth said, or at least consider a little bit more the benefits of a TIF or cost sharing in our region. I was born and raised here. And I know that we live in really high times right now for Traverse City. Our property values are high. Our housing market is on fire all the time. But it was not the case when I grew up here. And I will not name the year that I was born, but it was long enough ago that I remember when Traverse City wasn't the hot place. Charlevoix, Petoskey, all of those garnered far more attention and more investment. And what happened here was we saw the region come together in different places and in different ways to make this area stronger. And that benefits us all. And so hearing now the conversation that happens in our entire region, not just amongst your board, that somehow what's ours is ours, and somehow we're all supposed to still come together, doesn't play out in the long run in my mind. That is kind of a unique experience actually in the whole state of Michigan. Marquette, a city similar to ours, just not only passed their TIF, they expanded it because they recognize the value of regional cooperation. And I say that as looking at how do we keep people here, right? Isn't that what we're all trying to do? We're trying to keep people here to be educated, to be part of our workforce, to be in our industry, to create new innovative jobs in the emerging technologies. If we continue to silo everyone and leave 31 in East Bay up to one person and maybe get lucky that 31 in another part might get some NDOT funding for the first time in a generation, this crumbles. It crumbles not only our existing property values that benefit through millages the entire area, not just a TIF region. I'm not in any TIF region. I probably never will be. My tax money goes to you either way. My house value, though, is what makes the difference of what you get. And I think that can be a little bit of what we lose sight of short term. Long term, as a taxpayer who hopes to be here in 10 years, 20 years, even hopefully 30 years with type 1 diabetes innovations, I think that we can't be too short-sighted about what we're doing to the young people that want to move here or are here and want to stay here. When all of the money comes due by piecemealing some of these projects and maintenance that have been neglected for an entire generation, by piecemealing it and leaving it to a few $100,000s a year here, $1 million a year there, maybe if you can get the right grant, that's a burden we shouldn't be putting on one region's, one section's population in the future going forward. We all need to be responsible today and think about the next 20, 30 years and what that looks like for our community, because we've seen a generation of neglect for infrastructure and we know what it does. Thank God for ARPA. I will say that from a different position, a hat I usually wear, and that has allowed us to do a lot with infrastructure. We won't get money like that in another lifetime. And so we have to think very seriously now about how we're going to deal with infrastructure today. And TIFs are one of the few tools that we have in the state of Michigan. So if it's not a TIF, I do hope there can be a cooperation agreement of some kind, because otherwise we're creating a city that people leave to go get money and come back to later. But I don't think that's what any of us want. Thank you.
Thank you, Amy. I would like to welcome Fred Bimber to the podium, please. Welcome, Fred.
Thank you. Fred Bimber, 1223 Randolph Street, Traverse City, local resident voter taxpayer. I'm speaking tonight on the same issue. The board, full board, will be voting on the executive committee's recommendation that NMC opt out of the Beach District TIF plan, that it vote to exempt the college's tax revenue from that TIF plan. And I commend the executive committee for that decision. It's clearly the right decision for the college. If we look at this honestly and we compare it to the experience that the college has had with TIF 97, there's millions of dollars of college tax revenue at issue with this TIF plan. The Beach District TIF is huge. It's bigger as a proportion of local tax base than TIF 97 was when it began. Just viewed in terms of the dollars involved at the tax base, it's more than 4 times the size of what TIF 97 was. TIF 97 shows us an experience through good times and bad. We went through the Great Recession from the start of TIF 97 to now, and you've seen the graph of what that captured tax revenue looks like. As of a few years ago, the money that the college received from the TIF 97 district was 1/4 of the monies captured by the TIF 97 plan from college revenues. All the platitudes that are stated, well, this will only affect a small amount of college revenue, have always proven to be false. This is a full-bore tax increment financing plan. It captures all revenue increases due to inflation, due to uncapping, and due to new construction. We're talking about a beach district that has seen its taxable value grow at a rate of 9% per year for the last 5 years. We should not accept the very low representations that are made about how much college revenue this is going to capture. The right decision is to use college tax revenue for college purposes. When you don't, the message you send to taxpayers and voters is that you have more money than you know what to do with. And with with what we can see at this point about the likelihood of state support for the college, you don't have that. You're going to see essentially flat state support, which means declining support in real terms when you take inflation into account. The right thing to do is to opt out of the Beach District TIF and use college tax revenues for the college. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bimber. And with that, we are going to move on to the president's update with Nick.
I'd like to share 7 things with you this evening in terms of the update. And the first is to really acknowledge the incredible block party effort that was undertaken this weekend, both the student and community block party, which very similar to the start of the year where we have Welcome Week. Now the block party is sort of the bookend on the end of the academic year. So it's a great way of starting and ending the year. And I want to publicly acknowledge Marcus Bennett and Rachel Erkowitz from our foundation, along with Zach Whitaker, who played a critical role with Swoop's debut. We really did 3 things there this weekend. One, we were able to celebrate our 75th anniversary, and this was the first of 3 signature events. It was also an opportunity for us, as I already mentioned, to have Swoop's debut, our new mascot. And thirdly, we also had the Native American Student Association's graduation powwow. So it was a great turnout. It was fun for all, a really vibrant event, and I think allowed people to feel proud about NMC. So hats off to everyone who was involved, and thank you for those of you who participated as well. The second was the Taste of Success event, which was sold out with over 400 attendees. And to publicly acknowledge the foundation team and Catherine's leadership, along with Les Eckert and the Culinary Institute team, just tremendous collaboration. I'll tell you in simple terms, it was the best year ever. Specifically, it had the largest dollar sponsorship ever in the last 32 years and the highest number of sponsors at 69. So incredible industry and community partnership. And also during the event, I think most people are familiar, the Buy the Glass event that occurs was the largest ever, raising over $30,000 in the room that night. So an exceptionally high level of positive energy and generosity. I'd be remiss too if I didn't mention we had more than 30 volunteers from outside of culinary and the foundation. So just people from the community who wanted to be part of this, who signed up to volunteer. And the really key thing for me to end on is to remind you that this is about producing scholarships for our students. And at the end of the night, 43 scholarships were awarded to our students, over $44,000 distributed to them. So it was a tremendous success. And again, thank you for those of you who were able to be there. The third thing is 2 weeks ago on the 16th, our board chair, Mark Kelly, and myself and a student, Everett Howe, also we were accompanied by Swoop, attended the Capitol Day, which is put on by the Michigan Community College Association, and it's an advocacy day where all 28 or all 31 community colleges come together for advocacy in Lansing. We did get to meet with Representatives Roth and Kofia, as well as Senator DeMoose's office, and really allowed us to continue on relationship building and advocacy. And I'd really say the way that we've approached this the last few years is putting together a team of the president, the board chair, and a student. As you might guess, the student gets all the attention, rightfully so, because they've got a powerful message to deliver, and Everett did a great job, especially talking about dual enrollment as a dual enrolled student himself. The next item, fourth, regarding the state budget, what I can share with you is this. As of last week, we do now have the House and Senate appropriation subcommittees have dropped their budgets and or recommended budgets. And as you know, from last month, we also now have the governor's budget. So we've got all three of them. The big picture is this. In terms of operations funding, we're somewhere between 0.1% and 1% increase. So for practical purposes, flat. There is items, remember the infrastructure, technology, equipment, maintenance, and safety, in other words, kind of like a mini capital sort of allotment that is included in the governor's and the House's budget. It'll range somewhere between $400,000 and $1 million, depending on which budget. But again, from a financial perspective, operations funding flat in that 0.1 to 1% increase, and items funding potentially could be somewhere between 400 and $1 million. Keep in mind, though, that these three budgets have to be reconciled. They have to be negotiated. So chances are it's not going to get better than any one of these, but it'll probably be something like what I just mentioned. There were three other things worth mentioning, which I think are really good news that don't directly impact us in terms of dollars, but indirectly, I think it's really good policy. One, the Achievement Scholarship funding was included in all three budgets. So the good news is if they do carry through there, that would be formalized. Also, the dropping of the reconnect age to 21 is in both the governor's and the Senate's budget. So again, a great policy potential there. And lastly, dual enrollment, all three of them. Remember, we were trying to get kind of the separate pot of money so that superintendents wouldn't have to dip into their general funds. So I think those three policy pieces of dual enrollment, reconnect, and the Michigan Achievement Scholarship are really good. The last piece regarding capital outlay, really not good news there. The House did not advance anything with capital outlay. The Senate did. However, only 5 community colleges were included in the Senate's, and we were not one of them, despite all the wrangling after last year. I did speak with Senator DeMoose directly. He expressed his frustration, which obviously we have as well. There's a slight possibility of an amendment from the floor, potentially tomorrow, that could include us, but I'm not optimistic there. I can tell you that the 5 community colleges that did get included, remember there's a ranking process. They were ranked number 3, number 4, number 8, number 12, and number 7. Last year, we were in the top 5. So what you're seeing is kind of a cherry picking of community colleges and not adherence to the system. But we know that from prior experience. We do have a legislative roundtable next week scheduled where we plan to sit down with Reps Kofia and Roth and Senator DeMoose to try to further advocate. But I think in simple terms, I'd say it's not a good budget. At the same rate, it's not a cut, but it's fairly flat, is what I'd say. The last, moving into the fifth and sixth, good news on the enrollment front, as you heard Jason allude to, and in Todd's monthly report that was in your packet. This summer, we are looking at our 9th consecutive semester of enrollment growth, an 8.1% increase over last summer in terms of our contact hours. And hats off too to Jason and the Blue Tech Challenge, where we did just close applications for that. And Jason informed me that we reached 48 applications. Last year, we had 35, so it's about a 37% increase. They come from across 25 states and 3 countries. So we're really beginning to attract, I think, some national and international attention to that. And remember, ultimately, these are potential feeders into Frick in terms of those organizations. And the 7th of the 8 is just to remind you also, last week we had the Northern Michigan Startup Week, and Jason and his team did a tremendous job engaging us with the college and the region partners, particularly with a drones panel, which was really well received. And we also had our first revised OOPS 2.0 pitch. And in fact, 6 finalists of 19 submissions competed. Those are NMC faculty, staff, students, and together they garnered about $40,000 of foundation support, and they are directly aligned with our strategic plan. So again, neat to see our innovation driving strategic plan. And the last thing is just a thank you to all of you, because as you've heard, there's been a high number of activities and events this past week, and also heading into this week with the convocation on Friday and commencement on Saturday. And I acknowledge that you put in a tremendous amount of effort showing up for those events, and I'm grateful, so thank you.
Thank you, Nick. And for my chair reports.
May I?
Oh, I'm sorry, yes. Any comments for Nick?
Since I'm nearing my 6th year here on the board, there's been many years where, I think all of those years, we haven't been thrilled with what comes out of the state budgets. But for the first time, publicly, I'd like to acknowledge your leadership, Nick. For the first time, we can listen to those updates about our state budget and not have to panic, because a lot of the good work that you and your leadership team and then this board and board members prior have done to diversify our revenue, to be able to look at different ways to innovate this institution, this organization, and this place, so that we're not always reliant on levers that we can't control. So we still have a really big job to do with our budgets, and it's really important we keep our eye on the ball. And we've done that to the point where after 6 years of listening to our state budget, we don't have to panic that capital outlay is happening. We're still going to get Osterlin done. Good job.
Thank you.
Yes.
Any other comments? Okay. Thank you, Laura.
You're welcome.
For my chair report, briefly, I wanted to touch on or share with you some conversations that I've had with Trustee Warner lately over the past few weeks related to AI. And so I wanted to take a moment from the beginning of this meeting to kind of little hash marks for every time somebody mentioned AI outside of the strategic plan. I thought that didn't really count, but we did have 3 mentions about, various topics that we're talking about. And we're going to see more and more, as we all know in this room, the integration of AI throughout our society and in higher education. For us, I wanted to focus on what does that mean in our role in governance for the board. And I think it's an important, shared experience. And so I'm going to work with Nick and the executive team and the board to bring forth some board education coming in that way, giving you sort of the trustees a heads up in that, because I think it is such an important topic that I think we need to have as a team here, as a board, baseline information regarding that topic. And so Ken had a fantastic experience that he will share with us at some point. I'm not sure if you can hear me okay right now. Ken, I would love to throw it to you here in just a second. But he had an experience that he shared with me and connected me with Dr. Sands. Dr. Sands is a professor at a community college, and he is for 20 plus years been an innovator at the community college level related to the study of AI. And his perspective that he shared at an ACCT event that Ken participated in is what ignited this conversation. So looking forward to hearing more and hopefully being able to engage Dr. Sands with some board education and perhaps expand his experience, that direct experience at the community college level in higher education with maybe a wider audience here at NMC. With that, I wanted to throw it to Ken. Ken, do you have anything to add? Yes, we can. Thank you, Ken. And with that, I wanted to open it up. Anyone have any questions? Okay, more to, the conversation will continue. Thank you. And with that, we are going to move on to the consent items. And I would ask for a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you, Kennard. Thank you, Jody. And all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, or any opposed, same sign. And the motion carries. Thank you. Next, for the action items, policies for second reading. I would ask for a motion to recommend the adoption of the following board policies on a second reading basis.
So moved.
And a second? Can I get a second?
I'll support.
Thank you, Jody. And any discussion?
Just one question, is it normal to have them like this, or is it normal to have them with the changes showing what was modified or changed?
In the
First
first reading
read.
and last month's packet shows the track changes.
Just wanted to make sure, thanks.
Okay. All right. And any further discussion? Anyone else? Okay. And all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Same sign. And the motion carries. Next, the item T, the geothermal bid package. I would need a motion to recommend the authorization for the administration to enter into a contract amendment with the Chrisman Company for bid package number 1 in the amount of $9,597,041 for the work listed in the accompanying cost summary.
I'll make the motion. And support.
Okay, and any discussion? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. And the motion carries. Next, resolution for reauthorization of the geothermal project financing. I would need a motion to recommend approval of the resolution authorizing the issuance and delegating the sale of bonds as prepared by bond counsel and as presented by the administration and the secretary of this board, authorized to sign the same.
So moved.
Second, thank you. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. And the motion carries. All right, geothermal project investment. I need a motion to recommend the authorization to utilize an additional $5 million for a total of $10 million of the Boardman Lake campus sale proceeds towards the Front Street campus geothermal project.
I'll make the motion.
Support.
Thank you. And any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And opposed, same sign. And the motion carries. Item W, need a motion to recommend authorization for the administration to enter into a 24-month contract with Winkler Group for professional campaign specific fundraising counsel regarding a $45 million comprehensive campaign. The total projected cost would be $340,000 with the college's commitment totaling $170,000 over 2 years. The college contribution will be funded by the strategic fund.
So moved.
Support.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And opposed, same sign. And the motion carries. Next, website design, redesign. I need a motion to recommend authorization for administration to enter into a contract with Stamets for the amount of $267,400 for website redesign. The source of this funding is the strategic fund.
So moved.
Support.
Thank you. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. And the motion carries. Next, I need a motion to recommend authorization for administration to enter into a contract with Stamets for the amount of $102,000 annually for a 3-year period for digital marketing. This, the funding for this will come from the PRMC budget.
So moved.
Support.
Any discussion? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. And the motion carries. Next, resolution regarding East Bay Township tax increment financing. I need a motion to recommend the adoption of a resolution to exempt taxes from capture by East Bay Township tax increment financing.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Okay, Trustee Warner, go ahead. Thank you, Ken. And with that, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Same sign. And the motion carries. Lastly, I need a motion to recommend authorization to enter into a contract with Gaming Laboratories International, the firm selected to complete an informational technology audit at the cost of $26,250 funded from the E&G funds.
I'll make the motion.
Thank you. Any discussion?
Yeah, this is an audit requested by the audit committee because cybersecurity is becoming an increasingly important part of community colleges. Over half of them were seriously attacked in the past year. Some of them successfully at great cost. And we want to find out what there is that we don't know. So we're asking outsiders to take a look.
Okay. Thank you, Kennard. Any other discussion? Okay. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. And the motion carries. Thank you. And with that, Lynn, do we have any follow-up to discuss?
I noted a follow-up from your chair update about the AI.
Okay. Trustees, any other follow-up? Okay. With that, we are adjourned. Thank you.